Saints Row 4 took players to a setting that was literally out of this world. Whilst it was fun to play, a lot of the fans of the series were put off by the complete change in direction the series was heading in, and wanted a more down-to-earth game about gang warfare that we all grew to love. But that wasn't going to happen. Instead, we got Gat Out of Hell, a standalone expansion which would take the crazy over-the-top gameplay and the story of the previous game and take it even further. It's been almost 10 years since the release of this game, and it's also the only game in the series I've never completed. Until today. So join me as I take a look back at Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. So yeah, today I'm talking about Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. Now I'm going to keep this intro quite short, considering the game is quite short itself. It's probably going to be the shortest video in the series, in the retrospective series, because it is just an expansion. So just remember that when you're watching this video, it is just an expansion. It's not a full game, so it's not going to be as in-depth as my other videos. If you haven't seen them, I'll leave a link down below for the rest of the Saints Row series. But yeah, I'm going to keep it quite short. So without further ado, let's get straight in to Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. Saints Row 4 released to a lot of positive reviews. While most fans of the series missed the old game's look and feel, most casual fans enjoyed the over-the-top action and direction it was taking. But after its release in late 2013, we would see the next generation of consoles, the PS4 and Xbox One. And going into 2014, we would see one of the most boring years in gaming history, mainly down to one thing: remasters. You see, a lot of the games that released on the old consoles in 2012 and 2013 started to be re-released at full price with little to no changes on the new consoles, thanks to there being no backwards compatibility. And because the first full year of the new console's lifecycle only saw a few decent game releases, all you saw were these sad excuses for remasters. And Saints Row 4 would be no different, as we would see the release of Saints Row 4 re-elected. It was almost identical to the original, but it did come with all the DLC and also the main focus of today's video, Gat Out of Hell, a standalone expansion which would see the player, for the first time in the series history, take control of Johnny Gat. I do remember seeing the reveal trailer and not being that interested in it at all. I was one of those fans who really started to miss the old Saints Row games and was slowly getting tired of the new direction the games were going in. So seeing the next game in the series take place in literal hell was just too over the top for me to enjoy. But I still bought Saints Row 4 re-elected back in January of 2015 and played the standalone expansion Gat Out of Hell. Now normally when I talk about the story of the next game in the series, I normally start off by giving a little recap of the last game with some footage of the ending and boss fight, but I've kind of deleted the footage I had for that, so yeah, here's some random footage of the game instead. At the end of Saints Row 4, the Saints finally attack Zignac's ship, and after one of the most tedious boss fights ever, take him out and take complete control of the Zin Empire, thanks to the Earth being blown up. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, in Saints Row 4, the Earth kinda gets blown up in like the first area of the game. Way to dig yourself into a hole, Volition. So the Saints have nothing better to do than just sit on their ship floating through space, and while celebrating Kinsey's birthday, they decide to play with a juju board, which then sees them contact an evil spirit which opens a door to hell and takes the boss captive. It's then up to Johnny, accompanied by Kinsey, to go to hell and try and get the boss back. I can't even believe I'm writing about Saints Row anymore. I miss hanging outside Freckle Bitches with Dex complaining about people saying the Los Carnales.
It's not the Los Carnales. Jesus, what's wrong with you?
I mean, it's clear from the get-go, you can't really take this game too seriously anymore, and while Saints Row 4's story was pretty compelling, this game obviously is just having fun, and it's just a fun little expansion with some fourth wall breaking jokes.
He frowned at the seemingly arbitrary amount of time required for Jezebel to find a way to sneak him in. But he accepted the fact that without traditional missions, this was the best way to further the story.
And also a musical segment, which genuinely sounds like it's been ripped straight out of a Disney movie.
Never. I'm sick of perdition, so tired of tradition, but now my time has come to go break away, to live for today, to stand out beneath the sun. I know there has to be some way for me to be free, just living a life that's far from the strife and torturous pain, someplace that's far from here and not awash with fear. Oh God, I can't wait to cast off this hate. I want to find love.
But yeah, if you take it for what it is, it's just a fun expansion, then it's quite enjoyable. There's only like 3 or 4 cutscenes in the whole game, and also the characters you meet being from places in history like Shakespeare, Vlad the Impaler, Blackbeard, and then the Winter Sisters from Saints Row the Third for some reason. Again, it's just a fun little story, and I really can't complain about it. There are other components that let the story down though, which I'll get to, but overall it's just okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Just okay.
Mr. Gat?
Who are you?
Well, I'm
We're not doing that again.
So as you can imagine, with this being an expansion, the gameplay is pretty similar to Saints Row 4 with a few minor changes. First of all, the shooting and driving is exactly the same as it was for the past 2 games, but the main changes come in terms of the powers. First of all, rather than gliding, you now have flight, which controls a little differently, and after playing Saints Row 4 takes a bit of time to get used to, as it controls a bit more like a plane, which means changing altitude can completely stop you in your tracks, but thankfully you get a few flaps to play around with.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, I'm sorry, I just find the word flaps funny. I know, I'm a child. Anyway, the flying does take a bit of getting used to. It kind of reminds me of those time trials out of Spyro. I fucking hate those things. But other than that, most of the powers from Saints Row 4 return, like Stomp, which I use quite a lot in this game. The Blast power now turns enemies into stone, and Buff returns, but now has been changed to Aura for some reason. I guess they wanted to relate to 2024 TikTok kids, even back then. And Telekinesis has been changed to Summon, which I can honestly say, outside the tutorial, I never used it. It summons these little imp creatures who attack your enemies and explode. But honestly, I'd much prefer twatting them with a car using telekinesis. Other than the flight and that one power change, everything else is pretty similar to what we got in Saints Row 4. So if you haven't already, check out my Saints Row 4 retrospective. I'll leave a link down below. You know I had to get a cheeky plug in there somewhere. Now then, activities, missions, and everything in between, or should I say activities, and more fucking activities, as that's 90% of what you'll be doing in this game. So the first few missions, which are the standard go here and survive a few waves of enemies type beat we're so used to seeing in these games, you unlock loyalty missions for each of the 4 people I mentioned earlier to help them take control of their part of the map. But you don't do this by carrying out certain missions, no, you just get a long list of activities to do instead. I'm not even joking, there's about 3 missions in this whole game and the rest is just filler. If you're someone who likes to 100% games by getting the golds in all the activities and finding all the collectibles, then this game is for you, because that is essentially all this is. The whole objective of the game is to cause as much problems for the devil in hell as possible and fill this meter up, and every time you get to one of these points in between, you get a cutscene and possibly a mission or 2 if you're lucky. It's not great and the activity selection is okay, and would have been a decent bunch of side missions to do if they weren't the main event in this game. So how many are there? Well, there's 4. What the fuck? There's only 4 fucking activities in this whole game, and they're what you spend the most time doing. No wonder I got bored of this back in the day. The 4 activities are Hellblazing, which is very similar to Trailblazing from previous games, but this time you now use the flight power to do this. Then there's Torment Fraud, which is just the classic insurance fraud with a bit of a hellish twist, which is quite a cool addition. Of course Mayhem is here as well, using different weapons and vehicles to cause as much destruction as possible. Then last but not least is Salvation, which is very similar to those time trial missions from Spyro, where you fly around collecting things before the time runs out. I actually started off by hating this, but ended up really enjoying it near the end. They're okay, and there's a few more diversions to do around the world as well, like going to different parts of the map and taking on waves of enemies, but also this small domination like activity which I quite enjoyed. Overall, it was a little disappointing not to get a lot of missions in this, considering Saints Row the 3rd and 4 had some of the best missions in the series history, and we just get none in this game. But it's not that bad. It only took me like 3 hours to complete the story, so you'd probably get the whole thing 100% in about 5 hours, and again, it's just an expansion, so really giving it a hard time due to its lack of unique missions does seem a bit unfair, but I do wish there were just a few more they put in. Right then, customisation. Well, there isn't any. Yep, no character creator, no clothing options, no vehicle customisation, nothing. I mean, you can switch to Kinsey if you want, that's about it really. The only things that can be customised are weapons and upgrades for Gat and his powers, and they're all just upgrades. There's no cosmetic customization at all in this game, which is a shame considering that is one of Saints Row's biggest selling points. But yeah, nothing. The weapons are quite interesting though, all of them can be upgraded like in Saints Row 4, but sadly no alternate skins. But still, of course, there's lots of crazy and wacky weapons to play around with, like the grenade launcher that shoots frogs, the crossbow, pistol and shotgun, and one of the most unique weapons in Saints Row history, the armchair Ageddon, which is a recliner with miniguns attached, which seems more like a vehicle than a gun, but yeah, still a lot of fun to play with. Also, I'll talk about the vehicles just a little bit, but just like Saints Row 4, they're a bit redundant thanks to the fact you can fly, but still have a few redesigns to match the tone of the game, and also the police cars and monster trucks. That's really about it for vehicles. So yeah, Gat Out of Hell is easily the weakest in the series in terms of customization and upgrades. Even the unique weapons can't save it from being a bit of a letdown in that department. Okay, it's time to talk about the map and world, which I was actually quite surprised by. The city, which goes by the name of New Hades, is actually quite a fun and detailed map. It definitely captures what a city would look like in hell, with demonic skyscrapers, built up shanty towns, massive statues of demons, and of course it's surrounded by lakes of lava. Even though I have been quite negative of Steelport for being so dark and depressing, the ironic thing is, even though this game's set in literal hell, it still seems a lot more lively than the previous game's offerings. Obviously it's nowhere near as good as Stillwater, but it still does a great job of immersing you in the world, with the broken down cars, the NPCs all being these ghoul looking things, and random bolts of lightning everywhere you go. It seems like a lot of time was taken to really create the perfect atmosphere for hell, and trust me, if you're like me and enjoy finding all the collectibles in games, you're going to be seeing every inch of this map because there's a lot of them. You know, I like to talk about radio stations a lot in these games, and well, there isn't any. Yep, this Saints Row game has no music, except for this.
They say the devil's in the details, and I have some more for you.
And this.
One more for the collection.
What, if they wanted to torture you, why'd they use the short version of the song?
This is the short version.
I get it's an expansion, but having no music just makes flying around the city really boring, and yeah, it's really disappointing considering how good the map is. It's actually a shame we didn't get any real missions in this game, because the world of New Hades is actually visually quite unique and fun to explore. I guess it's really one of the only redeeming qualities this game has. Even though it was an expansion, I think Gat Out of Hell took away too many things that make Saints Row games great, and to top it all off, it lacked any sort of proper missions to play, which was the last two games' strong point. Going back to it now, I did enjoy my time with it, and took it for what it was, an expansion, and on completing the game, I did get a few choices when it came to choosing an ending, and I think there's only one option I can choose. I'm gonna regret this. So there we have it, Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, and of course I'm going to put it in the tier list. And I'm going to put it in D, the worst one. It's okay in terms of what it is, it's an expansion, but it doesn't change the fact that there's no missions in this, it's just activities. You just go to a point A to point B, just doing activities over and over again. And it had real opportunity to be a fun expansion and have some of the great missions that Saints Row the 3rd and 4 had, but it didn't. It's just fucking activities, and there's only 4 in the game, so it can't be any higher than D. I'm sorry, it has to be down there. I know there's probably a few people who did enjoy Gat Out of Hell, and don't get me wrong, I did, but it takes out the customization, it takes out the missions, there's no fucking radio stations to listen to, so it's not really a Saints Row game. And yeah, of course, I've got to talk about that game next, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. It's going to be a fun video. I don't know when it's going to be out yet. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks. I will be doing an update video next week where I'll be talking about what's happening for the rest of September. I am going to be a bit busy on the weekends, so making these videos is going to be quite hard. I'm still going to try and do it though, so keep an eye out for that. best way to do that is please like the video, please subscribe if you have enjoyed. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for engaging with the channel, I really do appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for being patient with me over the last couple of months. I've been doing a lot of work, been doing a lot of housework, as you can see in the background. This is going to change again in a couple of weeks, so I hope you're ready for that. But yeah, just thank you for staying patient with me. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. I do try and update on the community posts on the community tab on YouTube. So yeah, and also I have a TikTok now, so if you want to go and watch my little TikToks, they're on TikTok, obviously. But yeah, I've not got much else to say. I am in a bit of a rush today. I've got a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, thank you so much again for watching, and yeah, I'll see you very soon for the final Saints Row retrospective, which is going to be a lot of fun because we all know what that game's like. But yeah, thank you for watching. Remember, if you did enjoy, please subscribe, please leave a like, and as always, I'll see you when I see you.